Today, I just want to talk briefly about my weight loss journey, and I want to further talk a little bit about manufacturing consent. In regards to COVID stuff. Right now, well, today I decided to take a picture of myself and see what kind of progress I am making. The last picture I did was in September 15th. And today, November 10th, I can actually see a huge difference in weight loss. Like you just looking at my belly, I can see that there's a decrease, a decrease amount of fat. That is one thing that is kind of like amazes me when you look when you start losing weight, where it does not look like at a first glance that you are losing weight, because in your own point of view it looks like you're just remaining the same every day. Yet when you look at a picture and look at a picture from the past and then look at the present, you can tell the difference that is happening. And to me, that is actually a very impressive how it operates. And in the past, like over a year ago, where I was trying to lose weight, over the summer, I would be taking a picture once a month, and I can see me losing weight over time at a constant rate. Even though at the time I don't really realize I'm losing weight, but I'm still, let's say, am. Now, that was before I had COVID, and at the time I was working at a fish plant, and one of the things that was happening is I go into cycles where I will lose weight during this fishing season, but over the winter I regain all that weight back up. So let's say by the end of the fishing season, I'll be down to 380. But the next summer, by the next fishing season, which usually starts in March, I'm back to 410. So I start all over again. But I am determined that I'm going to break this cycle, even though right now I am not working. I can only walk so much. I can only do so much physical activity before I run out of breath because of COVID. I strongly believe that I can set up my way right now, even though it seems like I'm doing less. I'm thinking that I'm using this opportunity to rebuild my future. And I'm probably saying the same thing in the previous video, but I'm saying it again. And I'm one type of person that I might say the same thing 100 times. It might shoot this first time in the beginning, but it's still the same true the 100th time. And every time that I make that kind of statement, sometimes it makes certain new things that kind of makes more sense than previously. It's one of those things you can read the same text 100 times, and then one day you read it, even though it's the same words, you understand differently. And for me, it is the exact same thing in this weight loss journey, because I really, really want to lose weight to the point where I can see my own six packs. That's a dream of mine that I had for a long time. I want to be able to rock climb, to be able to, with my bare hands, climbing up ropes or doing pull-ups and chin-ups, that kind of exercise. And I do know that this kind of things takes time, especially when you deal with a medical condition. One of the things that I came to the realization in regards to COVID, that from the beginning, when I first got COVID in April 28th, 2022, this year, I'm basically about 20-25% recovered. And that's about 6 months recovery. To me, at this rate, it looks like it's going to take me at least another year and a half before I'm recovered. That doesn't mean that I am just going to throw the towel in the air and not do anything. No. I am going to continue to push on forward, to try to go on walks every day, try to push myself, try doing yoga every day. It might not be very intensive, like some of the other workouts where I do a little bunch of squats, push-ups, that kind of things. Yet, I have to work within my own limitations. And it's really, really difficult to do so. Because I have the inner desire that I can do so much more. I used to be able to do so much more. And one of the best metaphors that I use is I usually have only 2 gear. First gear, 5th gear. But COVID, in a sense, is forcing me to learn the middle gears and to slowly building my stamina back up. And I do know that one of those days I will achieve my goals. I mean, it might not go as fast as other people. I might be quicker than other people. Or I might go slower. It really does not matter. If you don't try, nothing is ever going to happen. And that is exactly what I'm seeing right now. Is even though I'm not where I used to be pre-COVID, looking back, I'm still seeing a lot of improvement. In a previous video, I was talking about manufacturing consent, which the premise of the video is talking about the book of Noam Chomsky called Manufacturing Consent, where the government or the Western press will create paradigms for the people to follow. And you can only debate in that small little paradigm. And any other thing is being pushed out. In this whole COVID mess that we have, the paradigm that we have is the liberal paradigm of death rate, vaccination, lockdown, and the right-wing paradigm of lockdown is a failure, vaccine is not efficient. Currently, there's the excess death narrative is coming out. Another thing for anti-vaxxer, also the whole narrative about what is it called? It's an inflammatory thing that right wing always advocate for. But yet, you're only debating in this two paradigm. This is the confined and acceptable paradigm for us to have a discussion. And I know conservatives will say, but our voice is being suppressed. We are being silent by the media. Yet, no one talks about long COVID. That discussion is completely absent from any of the debates. Think about that one for a second. When was the last time that a person in the media that talks about long COVID? I literally have maybe 5 people who ever talks about long COVID that I found on the internet. But I can find all kinds of videos about how vaccine is not worth it. It's causing damage to your lungs. Is a problem with it. All of that. that narrative is gone. The long COVID already is gone. See how the free press is not really the free press? And I always love how a lot of times conservatives say they're being suppressed. They really aren't. The people who are really being suppressed in this case is the people who have long COVID. You literally have to search for long COVID to even hear about long COVID. And one study that I look at, 30% of all COVID cases are people who have long COVID. And yet, nothing is done for those people. And I will admit, I probably really not know about long COVID if I didn't have long COVID. That's not entirely true. I kind of knew about it beforehand. Like the first person who actually ever talked about it was Thom Hartmann. And that was a video that he talked about a long time ago. But in general, very, if not any people actually talks about long COVID. Like I was listening to this doctor's interview where she knew about the types of virus it is, and she went to the CDC at the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, and she literally filed her report to the CDC saying why we need to deal with long COVID beside having lockdown. It's not going to solve the problem because we know that 30% of the people will have COVID. Her thought was completely being ignored by the CDC. And I have found that remarkable. That's the perfect example about manufacturing consent, about how the voice of dissent are being ignored. This is why I often question, what is the difference between state censorship and the free market censorship? Yes, since the 80s, the power of the capitalist, the guy who owns the means of production, has been dramatically increased, especially with the fall of the USSR. And of course in the establishment of the neoliberal order. at one point I'll be talking about the neoliberalism, how this ideology is literally the central of all of the problems in the West. But not today. So yeah, you can literally use the entire concept of manufacturing consent that Noam created back in the 80s, and you can literally explain of all the narrative is on TV, why there's so many voices that are being silenced. Especially what is happening in Ukraine. Like, I view the war in Ukraine and the media censorship about that war is the accumulation of all of the previous development of censorship in the West. And a lot of the time, people will say, has this illusion that as long as it is the free market, then it's fine. But yet, every time the free market starts to do things that is against people's will, then they blame that's because of communism. As if the free market cannot operate without a state. Have a nice day.